You see the commercials all the time for atrial fibrillation, or A-Fib. Dr. Greg Silverman joins us live to discuss this further. Dr. Silverman, as a cardiologist, this is something I would imagine you see a lot of here in the South. What are you seeing, and what do you advise your patients?
We see it very commonly. And remember what atrial fibrillation is. Atrial fibrillation is an irregular heartbeat from the upper chambers of your heart. It is very common in those patients who are over 70 and relatively common in patients who are above 40. It's about 3 to 4% of the population. And as you get older, we see more and more of this. There is two different types. One is a permanent type of atrial fibrillation where you're always in atrial fibrillation. And the other one is called paroxysmal or intermittent atrial fibrillation, where you can come and go in and out of atrial fibrillation.
Is it true that there are no warning signs before? It's just one of those things that you get right to it? Why does that happen?
Yeah, most of the time, I'll be honest, we don't really know. It has to do with the fibrosis inside of the atrium, which are the upper chambers of your heart. It has to do with aging. It has to do with the fibrosis that goes on inside the electronic parts of your heart. And generally, there's just no warning signs. You're doing whatever it is you're doing. The most recent one I had, the guy had I don't know, some dinner the night before, was doing not much of anything, and then in the afternoon, the next day, he had an episode where his heart went very, very fast.
So what are some good ways to try to prevent this? And if you do get this, how do you move on from there?
Well, the answer is there's not a whole lot to do to prevent this. That is, except know what it is that you are doing. Certainly alcohol, these energy drinks are horrible. There's a lot of times that happens. There's a thing called holiday heart, where if you drink a lot to excess and then the next day, sometimes people go into atrial fibrillation. Understanding those patients who have COPD or lung disease are at increased risk for atrial fibrillation. Those people who have sleep apnea are at increased risk. So just know yes, I have to be aware of what my heart rate is. And if I notice that it's irregular or I get short of breath on intermittent episodes, it's time to go maybe see somebody.
Okay, Dr. Silverman, as always, we appreciate your time and your insight. If you have a question, please send us a text at 361-855-6397.